Chancellor, graduates and guests, for Alison Blackburn, higher education administration is most certainly a vocation. Alison holds a bachelor's degree in English language and literature from the University of Hull and a master's degree in education from the University of Manchester. And she has dedicated her entire working career, spanning 4 decades, to this valuable and challenging profession. Alison started her career in higher education in 1982, working in academic governance in University College London. Since then, she has held numerous senior roles in UK universities, as well as working with other higher education institutions and agencies, both nationally and internationally, on project and consultancy work. Here at Salford, we're privileged that Alison chose to spend over 18 years of that working period with Salford University. She joined as Senior Assistant Registrar Teaching and Learning back in 1990, and more recently as much valued member of the Vice-Chancellor's executive team in the role of University Registrar and Secretary, before retiring in 2020. We take it as a great compliment that Alison chose to return to our institution after making a move to the University of Central Lancashire in 2003 to head up their Quality and Standards Unit, later taking on the role of Director for their Student and Academic Support Services. Alison has always maintained a strong professional interest in quality and standards, a passion she has also exercised through external advisor roles with numerous UK universities, including as a member of the executive of the UK's Quality Strategy Network, and also as a long-standing reviewer with the Quality Assurance Agency UK, which is the UK's quality body. So, she has been an assessor both at home, in this country, and overseas, and she is able to share her best practice. Additionally, Alison was chosen to contribute to B10, which is managing higher education provision with others, collaborative provision as we call it in the sector. So where University X works with University Y or College A works with University B, that kind of collaborative provision is much more challenging to manage, and Alison was part of the team that put that B10 code of practice together. And Alison has also travelled extensively to approve and review international provision with a range of partners, both at Salford and at other institutions. It's safe to say that one of Alison's many strengths is working with people, and throughout her time at the university, she's been an aspirational role model, not only to students, but also to staff that she has mentored and supported and line managed. Alison's often spotted across campus, going out to buy a cup of coffee, chatting with colleagues, or heading off to buy lunch and meeting up with people. And that's the way she liked to work. It was informal, formal, but it worked. It was incredibly impactful. And in her role as Registrar and Secretary here at the university, Alison established a working group focusing on students who traditionally struggled to find graduate-level roles, and saw the implementation of the university's first internship scheme. The scheme has so far benefited over 150 graduates who have gone on to achieve high levels of success in gaining employment following their involvement in the programme. And as an institution, we've obtained considerable insight from the scheme, and we're learning a lot and actually moving the scheme forward now and growing it because it's incredibly valuable to us. Alison's focus was not just on students, it was also on our staff, with the encouragement professional development always a big priority. And she was always very open-minded in terms of how people develop their careers. During her time with us, Alison championed and supported a group of our student administration and support staff in establishing an events team, allowing staff to participate in coordinating and running events and activities that brought colleagues together both socially as well as focusing on raising funds for things like charitable organisations. Staff worked in collaboration with the Students' Union and University Sports Centre, bringing colleagues together from across the campus in order to involve people in different activities. It was not unusual to see Alison acting in roles such as referee or master of ceremonies, sometimes in fancy dress, I remember, and sometimes not. I mentioned earlier that Alison retired in 2020, but she's not quite retired yet. She continues to provide professional support and consultancy work to a range of universities, and she continues to act as a reviewer for the Quality Assurance Agency, a position she's held now for over 26 years, so she must be good at it. As well as taking on a consultant's role with the Association of University Administrators, with whom she is a fellow. She is also a member of the governing body at Hartpury University, and just in case that wasn't enough, she just took on an interim role at the University of Durham as University Secretary. All these accolades and the fact that Alison is being chased, even though she's retired, for all sorts of roles, is a wide acknowledgement of her wisdom, exceptional gravitas in a demanding and ever-changing higher education environment. Her professionalism and dedication are not only to our university, but more generally to the higher education sector across the UK. And as we say to all our students, your journey with Salford continues long after you graduate, or in Alison's case, long after you retire. We very much look forward to sharing the next chapter with her and understanding what she's doing. But before I finish, I would like to reassure you that whilst Alison is an outstanding servant for higher education, there is also a lighter side to her. Professionally, she maintains the decorum and stature required in all her roles, but perhaps it's less well known that Alison is very comfortable shaking it off at a Taylor Swift concert, or channeling her inner Von Trapp as she dresses up as Maria at a sing-along at the Sound of Music performance, as she is around the university boardroom table, being very serious and very knowledgeable. And as we say to all our students, your journey with Salford continues long after you graduate, or in Alison's case, long after you retire. And we very much look forward to staying in touch and sharing the next chapter of her career with her. So, Chancellor, in recognition of her notable contribution to the life and development of the university and her exceptional service, I present for an Honorary Fellowship, Alison Blackburn.
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I admit you, Alison Blackburn, as an Honorary Fellow of this university. Very welcome.
Thank you. Well, I believe it's been said you can never be overdressed or overeducated, and here I am feeling fabulously overdressed, but I'm in good company with all of you. I've attended many graduation ceremonies over the years, but I've never failed to be thrilled by each one, by the achievements of our graduands and the pride and joy of family and friends who've supported them. And all of you deserve particular credit, as the Chancellor has said, for having done that through very challenging times. This is your day. I'm really honoured to be here to receive this award, but delighted to be able to share the celebrations with you. I also have my family here today. I'm really pleased to have husband Ian and daughters Helen and Elizabeth here, and I owe them thanks for their support. But like you, I owe thanks too to all the staff at the university who've made any achievements possible. All the things that Helen was talking about were in no way things that I was doing on my own. I've worked with some wonderful colleagues, and I was always aware that whatever we did was a team effort. Some of those people are behind the scenes, and you as students mayn't have been aware of them, but I can assure you they are there, and they're always putting our students first. As you've heard, I've spent almost half my career working at Salford, and it didn't take much to draw me back after I'd left that first time. I love what Salford stands for. It's the real life university experience and what it teaches you beyond the classroom. This university has been a huge part of my life, and I hope that for you too it won't end here. Salford will be written through you like a stick of rock, and wherever you go and whatever you do, you'll be able to draw on what it gave you. There's a saying, this one's attributed to Einstein, that Education is what you've got left when you've forgotten what you learned in school. Of course, some of you may be continuing with your degree subject, and I do hope that our accountants, our nurses, our engineers don't forget what they were taught. But for all of you, there's the stuff that wasn't in the curriculum that you will take with you throughout life. Resilience, reinvention, the ability to work together and to apply your skills to new situations. I'd like to finish off, because I'm nearly finished, it's really your day, we want to move on to celebrating that, with one or two more sort of sayings and pieces of wisdom that have resonated with me over the years. Not from Einstein this time, but closer to home. The first one is from my grandma Nora, which some colleagues here will be familiar with because I've freely passed it on over the years. It's, always sit with your back to the light, darling, it's much more flattering. So do remember that one. The next is from my dad, which is, don't come home drunk, but if drunk, come home. Another bit of good advice. More seriously, my mum would always remind me to be kind. You never know what someone else is going through. And in passing that on, I'd like to combine it with one from my daughters who don't know what I'm going to say next and are probably dreading it. When they thought that I was being a bit judgmental or too concerned about how someone else was living their life, they would say, you do you, Alison, because they don't call me mum because they don't get my attention that way. They maybe weren't saying it in the most encouraging way, but what I take from that is how important it is to be yourself, to be your own person, to be true to what you think is right. So I'll pass it on in that vein and combine it with my mum's advice. Go out into the world, into your next exciting stage of life, and remember, you do you, and be kind. Thank you very much.